On June 7th, I beat my first insane demon, Fallen Club, which there will be a video on soon enough. And since my next hardest will be a 9 circles level, why not make a 9 circles level to help improve my skill? So let's see what I made and how I made it. So I have the level right here, the 9 circles level, and of course the first thing I have to do is, well, find a song for the level. I was originally gonna do a ruckus song, but then I decided to do something else. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna go straight to Newgrounds to try to find a song, because I have no idea what song I'm gonna use. Trying to find something that can work. I decided to go for Rapture by Dreadorpheus, which you'll hear in the background right now, as I think it fits with the style that I was envisioning for the level. Yeah, that works. So it's kind of like the Woodkid intro, but faster. That could work, and maybe I can also do like fading the background in from black. A pad here that boosts you up into the air. I then began with the gameplay, and I was going for hard demon difficulty with this cube gameplay. Maybe I can do like a green orb here. Nice. I really like doing that like green orb thingo where you hit it late to go off a block. Maybe you'll go into yellow portal and a blue orb here. So you might think you have to hit that late, but in reality you have to hit it early. Actually, it's better to hit it late. I will continue making similar gameplay to this, taking some inspiration by the gimmicks that was used in Sharp Minor. It's one of my favorite 9 circles levels, and so you can expect me to take many ideas from that level. Maybe I can just do blocks like this. I don't want it to be like too much increase, like maybe it'll just stay on this layer right here. Should I do black orbs already? Maybe not. I didn't really know in the beginning if I was gonna do the simple or modern version of the 9 circles deco, so it was also pretty weird for me to decide what type of gameplay I would use. Maybe this pillar right here can have a black orb attached to it. Yeah, let's say something like this. Here could be probably where the ship starts. I'd build some more gameplay until finally ending off with a staircase and the most obvious fake in the world. Maybe that won't work. So let's see some stuff like this. A pink orb here that goes into a ship part. That's the entire gameplay for this first cube, so let's see what it looks like before I start structuring it. I was originally gonna build the gameplay up to the drop, but I decided to work on the decoration for the cube part instead. I thought that would be more interesting, and I really liked how the decoration turned out. So what I'm getting the vibes for this song is kind of like a purplish, like dark background. So for the structure, let's just outline it first with some actual outlines. I don't really know why I don't do this when I build my layouts, but you know, I would start with the block design like I do with all of my other glow design block designs. Thingo. I just added outlines, a base, and some glow to begin with. So this glow right here can just copy color 1 and be blending. So I'll do multiple layers of this. So let's say I'll do a layer of big glow, then I'll do a third layer, and will be a kind of like white blending. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. So let's say I'll just copy this glow to these edges right here. I then implemented the classic 9 circles connector objects, but they were a little bit hard to implement well, so I spent a lot of time readjusting them later on in the video. So, you know something that I just forgot? I forgot to add in the black inner outlines. How could I? You know, in my style, which is mostly just Vit 12 stuff a lot of the time, I have to add in the black outlines. And after adding some more glow to the design was when I began to make some interesting choices with the block design, but I actually managed to make them work pretty well. Let's say I'll use some of these 9 circles slopes, but not on like this super opaque opacity. I mean, that actually just looks fine. I was gonna make this like lower opacity, Okay, that does look better. That looks weird. Okay, just the half opacity stuff works. Maybe I can have some, let's say some very, very slight white glow coming from these structures. And after adding even more glow to the first structure, I would add some more details to the structure inside of the main structure. It sounds pretty confusing, but I did manage to make something that worked pretty well. So let's say if I make this brighter with more hue change. I then added these classic 2.0 objects, and I gave them some hue variation to make it so that the block design wasn't so monochromatic. It's really hard to work with these blocks, but every single time I work with these blocks, I hope that it turns out good. So that means that I can just add these right here. Guess that means I can delete this inner base because it's just invisible. But I can add these outlines right here. I see a problem with this, and that is that it's way too bright. And a lot of this just feels very messy. And after adjusting the colors even more, I would try to pull some of the main details in the block design using an area tint trigger. So that means that it'll just HSV, target group 2, center will be player, and maybe this. It doesn't work because I don't have previous shaders on. It still doesn't work, okay. Yeah, I like that. And then right here probably I can begin with a sort of like pulse loop for the background. Maybe something that I can try to do is make the ground like entirely white and then use solid ground. For the theme of the level, I wanted to go for an Arctic 9 circles level, so making the ground spikes white made a lot of sense. And then put an end to that there. Let's see, make all of this white, and yeah, that looks pretty good. And then below this, I can take some of these objects right here on T2, make them kind of like the background color, but make it brighter and have more hue change. But with that, I really like this ground spike design already. It's not done. I think if I add this spike right here and just make it I think this just works as it is, and maybe I can put like, let's say a saw blade in the ground, like an entirely white saw blade. Maybe I can copy paste that around everywhere and maybe even flip it some places. But you know, I kinda like this ground spike design. Yeah, I really like this ground spike design. I then added some stars into the level for some reason, but they looked pretty good and there wasn't anything wrong with it except that I copy pasted them a lot through the level. It's an 8 object star, so maybe I can like, I won't like spam this everywhere, just like, yeah, just place them around like the structures. Actually, you know what, I think it would be better for me to add like a middle piece to this. And after adding these stars throughout the level, I would come back to the block design and began work on the 3D. Yeah, I like this. This is coming together, but oh no, I forgot something. Let's add the 3D. It can never be a level without 3D, you know? If your level doesn't have 3D, then your level isn't a level. For the 3D itself, I just made some outlines, a base, some glow, and a black inner outline inside of the 3D. Even though it's so simple, it helps with the level a lot, fills up a lot of empty space, and just makes the design look way more 3D, as it's in the name. I'm gonna take some inspiration from the silent ditches part and actually add some of these objects to the parts, scale them down like a lot, and just add these to the sides of the design. And I think you can guess who I got this tip from, but it actually works really well. So now for this spike, I think I'll just go for like my generic spike making stuff. I've already gone through this design in my normal 9 circles redecoration video, so if you watched that video, you'll know how I made this spike design. So let's hue change this and make it have more brightness. Then let's copy paste this, scale it down. Just make it so that this is layer 4. This can just copy this and be layer 5. So now if I add this, scale it down and move it a little bit down, then yeah, I have a smaller version of this spike. Yeah, that works. I was going to make the inside black as well, but with the slight colorage, it actually looks pretty good. I then adjusted some stuff in the level even more and began with the custom background being the same as the normal 9 circles redecoration, but this time I will add a layer below this, I promise. I don't know what I'll exactly do for this transition part, but I'll think of something. Now what I can do is maybe work on a custom background. I can make base custom background being similar to the one I made in the 9 circles. Redecoration being just a simple moving pillar. Yes, something like that. Let's just make it be right here. And after making the first layer of the custom background move, I began with some overlay glow to the part. Actually, why am I using this? I can just use the gradient trigger. Just like a color that is black with 0 opacity. Yeah, like that. So now the only thing that I gotta do is probably just the block design. So yeah, I'll do the block design and then I'll see if there's anything that I want to add after that. And while I'm filling in this block design, which took about 2 hours, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. These videos take a lot of time to make and any little support would be highly appreciated. We're very close to 2,000 subscribers and let's see if we can get there for July. But let's get back to my 9 circles level. And yeah, with that, the entire block design is filled in. And holy, that took a while, dude. I've no idea how it took me so long to make this, but it did sort itself in the end when I just copy and pasted the final structures. Now, I think what I want to do now is probably work on like a parallax scrolling background. So what I'll try to use these objects right here, just make them white with no touch. I really liked this parallax background, it fit with the level and it didn't take that long. The only problem was that the movement took a while to master. It feels way too harsh. And then this can just be 600, let's see. I definitely need to copy and paste this. I then made it a little bit darker so that it didn't blend with the ground spike design. The first ones were. This looks kinda goofy, but it matches with the aesthetic that I'm going for, which is like a kinda goofy 9 circles level. Also, if my voice sounds weird, it's very early in the morning and I'm tired. Then I'll just put down some black glow to kind of finish everything out. I then added a sort of transition to the beginning of the level, which is pretty much the same as what I did in the Silent Dictures video, except this one was way simpler since it didn't even move across the screen. It looks pretty decent. I think I want to add some more background pulses and maybe work on a solid design, but this feels kinda full already. I then added my cube to the level just to show that I was the creator of it and no one else made it except for me. Scale it down significantly, I can't make it that tall. I then added the rest of the background pulses to the level and with that the entire part was done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you want a part 2 then leave a comment asking for a part 2. But let's get on to the final showcase of the part. Nice. Yeah, I really like this. So yeah, that was the first part for my 9 circles level. So you guys really like watching me build a 9 circles level. So let's continue this series with this ship part right here. Here is what I made and how I made it again. So we are back with the 9 circles level. The previous video did very well and you guys really wanted me to continue on this level. So I've done some changes with it, like tweaked some more colors and yeah, just polished some stuff in the level. And yeah, I really like how this looks. Today we're gonna be working on this ship part right here. Yeah, I think that can work. So this ship part will be to 16 seconds, I guess. I first began with the gameplay for the part where I wanted to incorporate some normal structures and some slope structures because I don't want to decorate just slopes because that's very painful for me to do. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to go down here and then up. So maybe I can put like a spike pillar here. Let's say I'll put another spike pillar here just to make it feel very tight. I wanted the slopes in this part to be kind of wacky with them swinging you around the place, and I think I nailed that kind of well. You see, like I really like this gameplay. Maybe I can place down this huge structure right here and make it go off to the sides. So here I can have like another structure. I'll flip it like this. I'll try to make like a sort of straight fly with these slopes, making it so that if you touch the slopes, then you kind of like die. Keep in mind that I'm still doing hard demon gameplay, but I did make this part a little bit harder than the cube part. Say right here you launch up into like some slopes that shoot you down. I'm doing a whole lot of experimentation here. Maybe make this kind of high up. Spikes here, would that be hard? That would definitely be pretty hard since you're like normal ship there. Then let's do an orb into a portal up here. So right here you turn into normal gravity and then there's some like spike. Maybe I'll make you turn mini here. Then let's do like another structure up here. For the end of this ship part, I wanted to do something pretty interesting and unique. I guess what I can try to do here is have some like big saw blades that you go through. Like let's say they'll be up here but just scaled up a bit. That could work, but that means that I definitely need to add some more saw blades into this part. After placing some more saw blades into the part, I began with the decoration, which I really liked working on, but it didn't go too well in the beginning. I don't know why this came into my head, but I kind of want to take some inspiration from laser bullets. Yeah, so let's say I'll change the object color to a more like bluish color. I decided not to do the laser blitz stuff, and I just decided to go for glow style instead. For the inside, I can try to use like some of these objects, you know? Yeah, but maybe not the thick outlines could work then. So I'll just do this with like some normal outlines. After adding some more outlines and glow, I decided to use some details that I've never used before in any other level. And then on layer 4, I can incorporate some of these 9 circles blocks, since they were the ones that were mostly used in this part. And then on layer 5, I'll just do some of the blending glow. Then it looks definitely better. This looks pretty cool, I like it. On layer 6, I can try to add some of these objects right here, except rotate them, scale them a little bit down, and just like put them on the edges, I guess. I then worked on the 3D, which is basically a less detailed version of the 3D in the first part. But after this, I began working on definitely my favorite spike design that I've made in any Geometry Dash level. Let's say I'll paste this over to here. Now that doesn't really work anymore, so I gotta do something else. I don't want to like just spam spikes, or maybe I take some like ground spikes inside of the spike. Then I'll add just like the classic spike glow that I always do. Yes. Then let's have another spike right here. Should this be above the ground spikes? Yes. Yes. And then let's add the black inner outlines to this. The main reason why I like this design more than any other that I've made is because this fits very well with the theme of the level, and it fits well with the block design as well. Maybe I can try to make these white, or just entirely object colored. That could work, but maybe it could work with some like blending in front of it. Yeah, that legit works better. Maybe, just maybe, I can take these spikes, copy them one layer above, scale them down, and then make this entirely black. Yeah, say this glow is like -60 brightness. I then spent over 10 minutes on a ground spike design, only to use the same as the last part. It ties the parts together, but let's do something else instead. So yeah, let's just do that. But yeah, I think now I'll just apply the block design to the rest of these normal structures in the part, and then see what I can do after that with some of the slopes. So yeah, let's get to that now. And while I'm filling in the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. We're pretty close to 2,000 subscribers, and let's see if we can get there before July begins. Okay, I've filled in the block design for the rest of the structures in this part right here, but the parts are coming together. You can see like a little difference between both of them. Yeah, I think now I'll work on like the scary part, which is the slopes. You guys know how much I don't like working with slopes. But anyways, I think what I'll begin with is like outlining these, so maybe I can use some more thick outline here. Decorating these slopes took a while, and the designs that I made didn't really look that good, but I eventually found a design that fit pretty well with the level. See, that just looks very off-putting compared to like the rest of the design. So what I can try to do is maybe begin by using some black slopes instead. Like that looks even more out of place, but I think I can make that work with like some blending glow and have that be on every single edge. Then on layer 2, I'll have like the slopes, which sadly, there's still no thick slopes. Come on, Rob Top, we have the thick slope corners, but not the thick slopes. My commentary for making this design wasn't really that good after this, so I'll basically explain what I did in post-commentary. But I began reusing the details from the previous designs, like these details and these blocks. I tried to do this design in the Supersonic video, but since it didn't work there, I think I'll do it here. Yeah, let's say I'll do T1, just blending again. Wait, do these objects right here have group 2? They don't. So I'll give them group 2, which is just the swiping, pulsing area tint trigger. But there's still some more stuff that I want to add to this design since it feels way too empty at the moment, so I now had to fill in the block design for all of these slope structures, but luckily that didn't take as long as the normal structures. Okay, so I've filled in the block design for the slopes as well. So yeah, let's begin with the saw blades for the part. I was originally gonna take some inspiration from these saw blades in Glorious Fortress, but I couldn't get the vines to work, so I just did something pretty generic instead. So let's say I'll scale this down a little bit, rotate it. Then I'll make the inside black blending and the outlines this color. I can add some like blending glow, some hue change and brightness. I guess maybe not that much brightness, maybe just scale it up. I can try to add some like icicles to this, or maybe some vines. Yeah, that definitely doesn't work. But I want this to be insanely simple. So what do I do then? Take like another one of these on the inside? That could honestly be the thing that I could do. So yeah, let's just copy the values of these to here. So if I just reassemble this again, yes. And if I then turn on preview animations, that kind of works, but I gotta go in and out and or maybe not do that. I tried adding more stuff to the sauce, but I just took the finished design and copy and pasted that through the part. I also did the same for the ground spikes. So yeah, I really like this, but now it's time to work on something a little bit more scary, being, well, custom background. Since the video is getting kinda long, I'll just speedrun this custom background. I began by making some black circles, which kinda resembled a spaceship in a way. I then added some movement to it and copy and pasted it throughout the part. I then added some outlines and these 2.0 objects to the edges. And the final thing I did was extending the custom background from the first part. So let's give this like double brightness, less saturation, and some hue change. And let's see how that looks. Do I have to make these like before -10? Probably. So yeah, some other things that I'll do is just put this block in. But after that, I was right back to work, and the first thing I did was copying pasting some snow from the first part. That looks pretty good, but I want to sort of like section off the background from the main structures. And so I took some tips from Jam Attack and sectioned off the background with some black glow. But man, this took a while to make work well. I guess now is when I can finally begin working on the movement. Movement and pulses are very boring to watch, but I basically just did the movement that was used in this part of Blade of Justice, and I just took the pulses from the previous part of the level. Then what I'll just take some more stuff from the 9 circles redeco video. Take this arrow right here and just regroup all of the colors. Maybe have a rotating object in front of it. If I then just copy and paste this throughout the parts, what I can try to do, I can try scaling this up. Let's make it have like 90-degree rotation, color 1 with more brightness. And then now I can take these arrows and just copy paste them. Yeah, I like that. So now I gotta do something for these massive rotating objects. I really like the design that I came up for these rotating objects, but they might not fit with the level that well. Maybe put some like glow on this. Wait, what if I use some of... Yeah, I can try to use these objects. Can this have some hue change? That looks pretty good. Then I can take some glow on top of this. The size of these objects need to be this big. Maybe one of those things can be... I then put some ground spikes into the design, which kind of resembled vines, which I was envisioning for the normal saw blades. I think I can extend this far out before it starts clipping. That looks like an eye, and it also kind of looks kind of goofy. I'll take these 2 objects right here. I'll scale this down like significantly and just align this to some of these edges. But I had to give them some outlines since ground spike generation is randomized. Take them, scale them up individually to like, say, this much, and then making them black. And then the final thing I can do is put some glow above. Like, this looks pretty decent, and I feel like I cooked with this. Maybe something else that I can do. Yeah. I added some chains that would hold up the design to make it so that the movement that I would give them wouldn't feel too weird. 5 seconds, it'll just move 50 blocks to the left. Let's see. Maybe not 5 blocks, 4 blocks in just 1 second. Also make it a little bit earlier. And then right here, it'll move back down again. And after fine-tuning the movement, the part was finally complete. But we finished the ship part, finally. I wanted to do some more stuff, like maybe put some stuff inside of these circles right here. But I'm proud of this part, so yeah, let's just get to the final showcase of the level. Since it's been a while since the last video on the 9 circles level, let's bring it back with this ball part. Wait, what the? Yeah, I'm adding a memory ball part to this level, and this is how I made it. So we are back once again with the 9 circles level, but today will definitely be a longer episode, since I want to try to finish the entire pre-drop. So with the gameplay, I want to do like a do click pattern. You'll begin with a blue orb right here onto the first of many structures that go like this. I would split up the ball part, with the first half being pretty normal and the second half being more memory focused. It was pretty hard to playtest this because my up arrow kept double clicking for whatever reason. I guess this could be better. Yeah, that could probably be better, and then have some like long clicks. I can try to do something like this instead. I then added an orb maze and split up the previous block maze, which would be interesting to decorate. And after adding a transition out of the ball part, I would begin with the structuring for the gameplay. Actually, you know what? Like, I spent a while working on the gameplay for this cube part, but I just don't like how it's turning out. It's just doesn't fit with the theme I'm going for here. I don't really like the click pattern for this segment right here, so I'll try to like alter it to make that work better, you know? And after fixing that click pattern, I would actually begin with the structuring for the part. So yeah, to begin with, I want to have it so that like some block structures right here into some spikes. Then let's have another spike structure like up here. So yeah, that's the structuring for this part. Like, now I'm gonna begin with the decoration for the parts. So the first thing I want to do is do this structure right here, where I'll just place in the outlines like this for like a huge box, and same with like the slopes. A common pattern with the previous designs in the level is that we use some of the original objects from 9 circles. But since all of those blocks were already used, I decided to use these strange objects instead. Instead of making the glow for these structures be in front, like the blending glow, I'll try to make the blending glow be behind. So maybe I'll give that some hue variation as well. Then I'll add a third layer of glow. I can make this be copying the object color, except making it blending. 0.70 brightness. I then added some black inner outlines and a lot of more glow to the design. And then I want to give these objects right here group 2, which is the like white area tint color, just to make them light up when you get to them. Maybe I'll try to use these objects right here, make it like not as bright, but have it like a lot of hue variation. Maybe make them have a little bit more brightness, but you can't really see it as well with like the fading area tint trigger. After this, I would begin designing the slopes, which I thought would be very hard to do, but surprisingly I managed to come up with a design very quickly. But I first added even more details to the block design, which kinda made it a little bit unoptimized, but it's not really that big of a deal. So I'll begin pretty similar to what I did with the other slopes, where I'll just make these, I guess, black. Make them be black, but also B3. If you watched the showcase of my part in Everlast, you'll notice these slope outlines used a lot in the ground spikes. I used them in this level as well, and after pairing them up with some glow, they looked very cool. Then, I'm gonna add the black inner outlines. I'll copy paste this just, I guess, one down. Then I'll copy paste this one up, and yeah, do the same thing. I then began with the 3D for the normal objects. Oh yeah, shoot, I gotta add the 3D to this. So yeah, I'll just add 3D to the normal objects and not the slopes, since I'm horrible with doing 3D for slopes, especially those slopes. Okay, let's make this also be object colored, a little bit more brightness. I never try anything different with the 3D, which is a shame as it just makes it look the same all of the time. And then maybe change the background to be like a more light bluish color. You make it so that the background fades to this over like a second. And now I think I'll work on the spike design. For the spike design, I just took the spike from the previous part and just removed some details from it. So I think that will be the block design that I'll go for with these structures. And that means that I have to do a little bit changing to the block design. So yeah, I think now I'll just fill in the block design to the rest of the structures. And then let's see what we'll do after that. And while I'm filling in all of the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. These videos take a lot of time, so any support would be highly appreciated. I also have memberships now, so smash that join button for tons of cool perks. But let's get back to my 9 circles level again. Okay, so I've filled in all of the block design now, and I really like how this is looking. Well, kind of like an asterisk on all the block design. I haven't filled in these memory blocks right here because I kind of want to do a more simpler design. But what I want to do now is I want to do something inside of here. So as you can see, there's some empty space here, here, and here. This will basically show what the solution for the memory part is. Or maybe instead of doing that, I'll use some arrows. It was kinda hard for me to explain what I was making here, but I took some inspiration from a bizarre phantasm, where it showed where you had to go before throwing you into the infamous key maze. I did something similar here, added some text referencing Limbo, and made the text have a sort of RGB effect. That looks kinda out of place here, but it's not really that bad. All of this is a group of just like 46, and 46 will just fade on as you get to this. So then I'll just do this like focus thing for the other objects as well. So there you can see you can see it like kinda well. Like I hope that you can see it well. And then I want to work on the like actual memory thing. So here it'll be like, oh yeah, some glow right here, just like this, but then half space it maybe. Then I'll add an inside to this. Now I don't want this to just be entirely black, so maybe I'll make it half brightness black, but then that's a problem. I then added some stars using these objects and made them slowly move up like a bubble column. Yeah, I like that. After that, I want to actually decorate these blocks, which I'll do something very simple for. I'll just take some of the details from the previous parts. So yeah, it's a very, very simple block, and I think I definitely gotta make it so that these objects are not above any detail. What I'll do after that, I'll just link all of this together, just like this. So now I'm copy and pasting this block throughout the entire part, and what I wanted to do to make this even more confusing is take some inspiration from the most infamous Geometry Dash memory level, Limbo. What I wanted to do is make all of these blocks rotate like the key maze in Limbo, and this is what I made. That's hilarious. Oh my god, should I keep that? Like, I can try to have it so that, like, these get spewed out of a conveyor. Yeah, that could honestly be better. I'll have it so that, like, a 48 can have, like, a sign out, or I guess sign in out. Let's see. Since the movement was too quick, I made it slower and copied the movement to the other structures but made them move up instead. But I gotta go into slow speed again to check if you like hit one of the platforms. I then made it feel more like you're actually hitting one of the blocks, which needed a lot of adjustments and tweaking. It was also very boring to do, and that's why I'm going over it in post-commentary. What I want to do now is add, like, I guess a sort of spewer that, like, spews all of these out. If I use, like, these objects, I guess. I don't want this to be, like, some cutesy, modern type stuff. Yeah, this will be, like, a white base with some gray below it. I did something similar to Jam-Attack's block design in Machinal 2, but I did add some of my own details as well. I'll also scale this down. How far in should I zoom this until I can, like, comfortably warp this down? There's, like, a little overhang there, but I don't really care about that. I then added some bolts to the design and some black glow to the top of the block on T2 to, like, encapsulate all of this. So if I then take all of this, just link it together and half space it down, that could work. After that, I just tweaked some colors and added some glow to the touchable blocks and the memory parts, which wasn't that interesting, so let's skip to something else. Okay, so I've finished filling in this, like, kinda conveyor belt thingo for the rest of these parts. Now, what I want to do now is, before I, like, add some of the custom background stuff, I'll just select all of these bottom structures right here. I spent around 5 minutes on trying to add some movement to the main structures, but due to how inconsistent it made the gameplay, I just deleted it later on. And as you can tell, I'm doing a lot of post-commentary, and that's mainly because my live commentary at this point was getting very bad and strange in a way. I'll take the dots and just extend them even further. But yeah, I really like this just atmospheric glow. But yeah, I think what I'll do now is work on the ground spikes for the part. I don't really want to just, like, copy and paste the ground spike design from this part. So I guess I can then use these ground spikes right here. I've done this simple ground spike design in 3 different videos already, and I don't feel like explaining them for the 4th time, but I'll still kinda go over the process of how I made them. And so I'll just select all of this, make that also be T3, and I guess that can be blending. I can go and put some glow behind that, just to make it so that it sections off better. Yeah, I like that. There we go. The ground spike design is filled in, and the part is starting to come together pretty well. Now, the first thing I want to do is like just continue to try to reuse this background as much as possible. So these are all group 1. Group 1 is just for like 18 seconds, maybe like 22 seconds, like 2.2. So yeah, I also want to add like a background that's unique to just this part. I kind of want to just replicate the background that I used for the Supersonic remake. So maybe I'll just do that. Yeah, I can do something like this, so there's kind of like a slight line. Although that didn't really fit with the Arctic theme that I was going for, so I changed that to something more in line with that. You know what, screw all of that like fancy stuff. I'll just delete all of this, add like some slopes coming out of the ground, scale that up like a lot, and just make it so that that jumps out of the ground. And after copy and pasting it to the top and making it bob up and down, the custom background was already finished. I think with that, this entire part is finished. Yeah, I really like how this looks as well as all of the other parts. It's a little bit different as I feel like it has a little bit more of like a space theme to it. And after that, I spent a lot of time just polishing the transition from the previous parts. It wasn't that fun to watch and it wasn't that fun for me to do, so let's skip to something way more fun. One final thing to add is of course the names of the members of my channel. So my first member, Dastinity, is on this structure right here. My second member, GhostXan, is on this structure right here. And my third member, RSD621, is on this structure right here. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and thank you especially much to the members. You guys are of course the best. But let's get on to the final showcase of the level. Today, I will be finishing the entire pre-drop of my 9 circles level. Next episode, we will be beginning the wave part, but let's see what I made today. So, what I want to try to do is have like a lot of like pillars that kind of shift up. This idea seemed ambitious, and as I continue with the gameplay, that idea just crumbled away. Maybe I'll just have some like corridors right here. Then you have a block here with this green orb thing, as I did earlier in the level. I'll put a J block here just to be nice. Yeah, because you have to jump pretty late off of that. I can have a structure going kind of like this, and then have a black orb falling here. But that means that I'll change this. Ooh, so moving this further up. I'll put a spike here. Then I'll do like an ethereal artifice click. I want it so that you can't just hold through this. So if I put some spikes like this. The rest of this gameplay wasn't really that interesting, but I did put an auto section similar to Etsu's part in Bloodbath. I don't like that there's so much downwards momentum, but what do I actually do to fix that? I think that's good enough. So what I'll do now, I'll just add some like structuring to this. So let's just do that. Okay, so I've finished all of the structuring, and I added some like camera changes, just to make it so that I don't have to decorate a too big area. I think what I'll do now is just begin with the block design, where I'll just add in my normal outlines like this, and then also add these rounded off corners to the side. I then added some of my normal glow design details before adding some more interesting details. But I can try to use these objects this time, since they're a bit more different. I'll make it have some hue variation and some brightness variation as well. I'll put this base on B3s. Yeah, there we go, so that you can see these objects easier. On layer 3, I'll add some very thick glow to this. Then on layer 4, I'll add, of course, the black inner outlines, which helps so much with everything. I would not have been where I am now without the black inner outlines. I'll use some of these objects. I don't really know where I got this idea from, but it made the design have a way more crystallized pattern, which fit a lot with the Arctic theme that I was going for. Now, I feel like this is a little bit too opaque, so maybe toning it down a little bit, like that, yeah. And on the same layer as that, I'll put some object colored blending glow on the top. For the second layer of the block, I just copy and paste the details from the first layer, which wasn't really that interesting. On layer 7, I'll take this glow object right here, scale it up to like 4 times, just to like section off the glow better. But then I gotta extend this, let's say 1 block further down. Then I'll begin on the 3D. This time, I actually made some 3D that is pretty interesting, which is a nice breath of air because most of my 3D just look basically the same. How about I do like a normal base, and I do this base on top of it? I guess. It's a very interesting and unique design, and the only thing I'm worrying about with this is, well, the object count. On layer 11, I can add some glow to this. If I do the same type of glow as I do for the other objects, how will that look? And then on layer 12, I'll add the black spikes on here. The final thing I'll do is the spike design of this. So let's say I'll do what I did in the Crazy 3 remake, which is make it so that these spikes have a thicker outline. It's slightly different, but I hope that the difference is noticeable. What if I just add like a black spike to the inside here? Yeah, that's good. And then I can just warp this down for the smaller spikes. After this, I didn't really do anything more interesting, but you guys know what I have to do now. Yeah, I think that's the design that I'll be doing for the main structures. So let me just copy and paste that to the other structures, and then I'll figure out something for the ones that aren't connected to the ground. And while I'm filling in the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. I spend a lot of time on these videos, so any support would be highly appreciated. I also have memberships, so smash that join button for tons of cool perks. But let's get back to the final part of the 9 circles pre-drop. Okay, so that took a while, but I finally finished filling in all of the main block design. And I'm very not in the mood to do block designs, so let's work on something better now. I feel like after I made the Crazy 3 remake, I've developed a lot of different tricks to use in different levels, like what I'm gonna do now. What I basically do, I just take some big glow, I spam it like this. Yeah, it doesn't really look that good. So to fix that, I'll first lower the brightness of this. So right as you hit this portal, group 76 will move 135 blocks to the right and 20 blocks down. It's like a blizzard. So now I think I'll work on a background. I would do something similar to some of my other custom backgrounds, using a lot of very big slopes on low opacity, and I really like how it turned out. Yeah, that's good. I guess I can extend these particles as well. They're like a classic theme of all of this. I made these particles in the first episode and they've just like been here for the entirety. I'm gonna make some like ground spikes for this. So the way that I'll make these ground spikes, I'll have some like huge kind of like clumps. So then I'll take this object, which is like the biggest circle that I can find. Copy this, I guess make this like blending white maybe. I would then copy and paste this throughout the parts and give it some movement so that it didn't look so still. I mean, I guess I can add some like normal saw blades since these kind of resemble saw blades. I'll take a normal saw blade right here. I'll copy this, shrink it down, make it a layer above. Then I can take like this object. I've never really seen that before, so maybe I can try to use it. I then added some glow to this, and I didn't really commentate throughout it, so let's skip to a part that I did commentate. It's kind of like hypnotic to look at for some reason. I don't know how I feel about that. Can I add a swirly guy in there? Whoa.
It's Woolsey. I'm on my alt account.
This is very mesmerizing. I think that's a pretty good saw blade. So what I'll do now, I'll go on Mega Hack and turn on the show hitbox trail, and then just place saw blades where you can't really go. And this wasn't such an interesting process, so let's just skip to something else. Actually, I just worked on the transition after this, so I guess we gotta skip even further. Now for this block design, I kind of want to do a more neon style. Let's say I'll make the object color just white, and then make this just like black color. I did something pretty similar to the spewer that spewed out the memory blocks in the previous part, and I like how they fit together in this setting. I guess I can then take these outlines right here. Make these be like half brightness white, 20 opacity white. Will black inner outlines solve that problem is the question that I'm wanting to get answered. Then, what if I add some like cracks to this? Like some slopes that are just like, that just look like it's cracking. Nah. I guess I can, instead of adding some 3D to this, I'll do some like drop shadow instead. How does that look like in the context of this other stuff? It mellows it out and makes it like not look so out of place, you know. So yeah, now I just gotta copy paste this throughout the parts. What I want to do now is try to add some movement to these structures, and then maybe add some pulses to this as well. At this point, my commentary got pretty stale and there's not really that much to talk about, so let's just have a little time lapse where I do all of this movement. I also added some pulses at this point. I think this part is actually nearing completion. There might be some more stuff that I want to add, but yeah, I think it's close to done now. I made it so that this ending right here turns pretty like neon as it like climaxes, and maybe I can make it so that these particle triggers right here fade off at the same time. In let's say 2 seconds, that'll just fade off. Yeah, the final thing to do now is of course the names of the members of my channel to the part. So my first member, Dastinity, is on this structure right here. My second member, GhostXan, is on this structure right here, and my third member, RST621, is on this structure right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and a special thanks to the members, of course. You guys are the best, and let's see the final showcase of the level. If you're thinking of a 9 circles level, you'll most likely be thinking of the wave part. Today, I'll be beginning the wave part of my 9 circles level, and so let's see what I made and how I made it. So we are back with the 9 circles level, and I have been terrified to record this. Now I've done like a decent amount of changes to the level, like I added some more intensity to this part, and these like squares here and this like transition. I'ma just let it play out for you guys. And these particles. Yeah, it's pretty subtle, but I guess it works. Now, for this draw part, I want it so that the first wave should be like all the way to here, and so I gotta make 14 seconds of gameplay and decoration, which I am a little bit terrified for, but hopefully I'll make it so that some of this can work. I've already gotten some practice for making 9 circles gameplay because I did remake Crimson Clutter for the Ultimate Insane Demon, and that meant that this didn't take as long as I'd expected. So let's say I'll just take like this structure, put it all the way to the top like this, and then make it so that it gradually goes down. And I don't want this to be like too tight. I feel like this could be decent tightness. Then I guess right here I can have like a big structure going up like this. That'll also be like tilted to the side. And then I'll make like a pretty big diamond shape right here. I'll put some holes in this like diamond right here to make it feel like a fake. I think it will be pretty cool if I take like a mini portal. I'll just go straight back into normal. What if I like change the speed as well? How will that work? And then if I copy paste and flip it up here, will that be better? I think I'll begin on like a very big structure that goes up like this. After this, a lot of the gameplay was very similar, but I did do some interesting stuff, for example this duel right here. For this part, I kind of want to do something like the wave in Dolos. So if I just put this at the top, will that work? This might seem like very clunky and stuff. For some reason, like, you can't make it so that the hide function works on teleport portals. So I just use an invisible group for those, and I think this will work. Now, a problem with this is that, like, even though the Dolos wave looks very cool, it's very hard to make it, like, work well with, like, good wave structures, you know? That's good enough, you know? But like, what do I do here? Will just like a simple diamond work here? I added a lot of very unique gimmicks to this gameplay, which for some reason seems to be a pattern with most of my 9 circles wave gameplay. I feel like I made the gimmicks both feel very cool and forgiving at the same time. What if I like have a structure that's like this tight, but then the bottom is just like a fake, so it's not nearly as tight as it seems. But then it has to be fake all the way up to here. Then here I want to have like a lot of portals, and maybe some fake portals as well. If I go into like speed hacks here, just try to make it like as close to what I want as possible. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. But I don't know if that'll be what I get. Here I want to do something like Jawbreaker. I'm not really the hugest fan of the like half spacing, and I guess this can just work, but maybe I'll shift it down. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with this. So I think what I gotta do now is go on to the more scarier thing, which is the decoration. Okay, so to begin with the decoration, we obviously have to begin with the block design. And what I did to prepare myself was basically just look through multiple different 9 circles extreme demons to see what they did. And so I think I have some ideas for what I would want to do. So I'll obviously begin by adding the outlines first. This is a very big structure, so this will take a little bit, but hopefully not too long. A small part of me kinda just wanted to do the same thing as the Crimson Clutter redecoration, and while that did look pretty cool, I obviously had to do something way different for this level. Then I'll add the base, and Here I'll do something similar to Arctic Lights, where I'll use these blocks right here, but I'll give them a like very dark color one, like that. Yeah, that already looks like decent. On layer 2, I'll add some like glow to this, and I'll do like 3 different layers of glow here, so they combine together and become like this. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Yeah. What I want to do now, I want to see if like regular black inner outlines will look better, or like thick black inner outlines. Yeah, that looks very cool. On layer 3, I could try to add some like 3D to this. I'm pretty proud of this 3D, and even though it's very, very simple, I still like the simplicity of it. And I think that will be like the first layer of the design. Now I'll begin with the second layer. I want this to be like way different. I want it to contrast the different layers, but also blend them together pretty well. I also didn't want the part to be monochromatic, so I added a lot of hue variation to it. On layer 3, I'll add like these metallic objects right here. I'll make these have like the half opacity black color, and maybe put them on the bottom as well. Yeah, I like that. I would also like to add the outlines on the bottom for that, so yeah, let's do that. I can try to use like these objects, as I did in Crimson Clutter. Now I kind of want to add like a sort of glow laser thing on the inside, and maybe make this like white blending. On layer 6, I want to begin on like this inside, which naturally means that this outline will be thicker. For this segment, I took some slight inspiration from Cosmic Cyclone and used some of these objects. Then I want to have it so that like there will be some black inner outlines here, but I'll do something kind of different for the black inner outlines, like not the normal stuff that I tend to do. So I'll first put it here, but then I'll half space it and put that here as well. I don't know how an optimized this will be, but if I like take these objects right here, the same like brightness as this, which is like less hue, way less saturation, and if I just paste that throughout here, I mean that also looks pretty cool. How many objects is that? It's a lot of objects. I don't know if I should do that though. Maybe I'll just do like these objects, as that's like safer. Like it'll be less cool, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make something work, you know? I had to cut a lot of stuff as I couldn't want the design to be too unoptimized, and even with all the optimization I did, this block right here is already over 1,000 objects. Like this already looks pretty cool, and I think the only thing that it needs now is of course like the 9 circles pulses, where I'll basically just do the exact same thing as I did in the Crimson Clutter remake, so if you've already seen that, then you know what I'm gonna do now. I mean, I guess that works. Then what I can try to do on like layer 6, okay, there's nothing there. I kind of want to add some like, yeah, some random circles, you know? Make this like blending white, copy paste this, make this like blending blue. What I'll do, I'll add like a lot of glow to this. Yeah. What if I then add like this object right here to the center? Something like this, and then just make it very, very dark. After adding a few more pretty tiny details, I gave the design the pulsing groups and copy and pasted it throughout the structure. I guess it works, yeah. And then on layer 7, let's say I'll just add some like very, very big glow to like the edges here. So if I make this like T2 and like white blending, put that on all of the edges. These edges are like a little bit smaller, so I'll just make it so that these have like not as sharp glow. Now I obviously have to copy and paste all of this throughout the part, This will definitely take a lot of time to copy and paste, as there's a lot of stuff here. But, oh well, let's just do that, I guess. And while I'm filling in the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. We're actually pretty close to 3,000 subscribers, and maybe we can hit that before November begins. I also have memberships, so smash that join button for tons of cool perks. But let's get back to my 9 circles level, although there is something that I have to tell you. So you guys probably remember that in the Dark Travel video, I forgot to turn on my microphone while making the gameplay. And somehow, this idiot managed to make that mistake twice. But this time, I had my mic muted for the rest of making the entire decoration. So that means that pretty much the rest of this video will be in post commentary, but hopefully it won't be that bad, and I promise that I won't make this mistake ever again. The first thing I did after admiring my work was begin with the ground spike design. I used the default curved ground spikes and gave them an outline and also a back piece, and I think it looked pretty good. I also gave it some glow to make it stand out even more, and added some rotating objects inside the ground spikes as well. I then copy and pasted the ground spikes, but I obviously had to put some holes because there were parts of the gameplay where you had to go on the ground. After adding some glow overlay, I began with the custom background, which is pretty much just a revamped version of the background in the first part. I also added some arrows, but they didn't really work that well, so I scrapped those and maybe I'll use those for the second wave. I then added some massive ground spikes in the middle ground, and while it is pretty simple, it added a lot of detail to the part and made the Arctic theme fit in way better. Next up was the saw blade design, where I began with spamming a lot of saw blades on top of each other, giving them the pulsing groups, and then I began with some more interesting details, like these sort of scythe objects in the background, and this rotating object behind all of those, and I'm actually really proud of this saw blade design. Then it was the spike design, where I just took the spikes from the third part, and they managed to work well in this setting. After doing some optimization to the part, I wanted to replicate this sort of wave effect that was used in Astral Divinity. I did the effect for the sort of Dolos wave, and the reason why I did it was just to make the part feel more sight readable, but it also did look pretty cool. I then added some random glow lasers just to make the part feel more intense. And pretty much the rest of the stuff that I did was some polishing details, some pulses, and polishing the transition into the part. And then came the realization. Okay, so I just realized that I've been muted for like an entire hour, and I was just sitting here talking to myself like an idiot. But yeah, the entire part is done now. Hopefully, a post-commentary will follow, will explain pretty well what I did here. But yeah, the final thing to do now is of course add the names of my members to the part. Thank you so much to my members: Dastinity, GhostXan, RST621, Qafo, Felmix9, Zoshaluko, Wowzy, HFizx, and Malachad. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully I won't make this mistake ever again. Let's just get to the final showcase of the level. Thanks to the massive support that the last video got, I've already made the second wave part of my 9 circles level. Only one episode left before it'll be completely done, But let's see what I made today and how I made it. So we are back once again with the 9 circles level, and today might actually be the second to last part of this entire level, at least the creation process of it. I think today I'll just make the second wave of the level. So now when I begin with the decoration for this, I'm pretty like interested in how this is gonna work, because I want the second wave to be way different from the first one at least. I would presume that most of you guys have already watched the first episode, and that means that you'll probably already know how I make this gameplay. So that's why I won't spend that much time on making this gameplay, considering it's pretty similar. But I want this to be like more classic 9 circles gameplay. I want you to kind of like hold into a fake that's like probably around here or something. Yeah, I guess something like that could work, and then have it so that for this structure I'll do like whatever this thing is. I don't know what to call that. I think that's kind of cool. Or what if I use teleport portals here? Yeah. So let's say it goes up like this, and then I'll have a teleport portal which teleports you down to the bottom. Yeah, like that, and then have a normal size portal right here and a 3x speed portal here. And then maybe right here I can have like you turn into a mini cube for a little bit. Have it so to just like jump into wave, and then it gets slower here. Oh, I didn't mean for it to stay as mini, but I guess that works. And I also accidentally did a pretty cool click pattern. So maybe I'll just make like a very strange structure like that. And then here I guess I can have the sonic wave duel. But I gotta align that to the grid. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I just gotta do the structures here. What if I do like what Sonic Wave does and have like one of this is like spam? Yeah, something like that. So have it so that there's like a structure in the middle. Oh, and that also syncs with the song. Dude, I know exactly what I'm doing with all of this. Wow, it's like magic how I'm like making all of this work. Holy. Maybe I can make this structure be like more centered like that. The rest of this gameplay wasn't really that special, so let's do a little time lapse where I build the rest of it. I think that might be the gameplay for this. I'll play through all of this and see if there's any changing that I want to do with this. And after doing that, I think I'll begin with the decoration. So yeah. Alright, I've done some changing to this gameplay, and I extended this overlay glow, but yeah, now we're beginning with the block design, and this time I want to do a more like simple effect for this. For this design, I didn't really have anything to take inspiration off of, so I just freehanded this, and I'm actually really proud of this design. I think I actually like it a little bit more than the first wave. What if I try to use like these objects right here? Give the glow like less saturation, like this, and some more brightness. And then on layer 3, I'll do like some doubled up glow. I'm doing some pretty similar stuff to the first like block design, at least the first wave. Yeah, if I put this glow throughout, then you can see that this design is starting to come together pretty well. Something else that I can do is like take some glow and put that on the bottom here and make that be some like half opaque black glow. Since I didn't really have any inspiration, I had to do a lot of freestyling, which meant that a lot of the details that I wanted to add wouldn't really work. As for example, I spent over 10 minutes on this detail trying to make that work, but it didn't, so I just scrapped that. I am out of ideas for what to use here. I have no idea what to do. I mean, I guess something obvious that I could do is just like fuzzy slope this. I have no idea why I didn't fuzzy slope the like first design. And yeah, it looks better with fuzzy slopes. And can I get away with just yoinking the same 3D as the previous part? This will definitely be pretty lazy what I'm gonna do, but I need to see if it'll work. What I wanted to do was just copy and paste the existing design 5 more times to fill the rest of the block, but I didn't do that, and instead I made the design thicker and then copy and pasted it. I guess I can move this glow a bit further down, and then I can have like a glow laser going between all of this. So let's lower the saturation, up the brightness, maybe lower the saturation even more to like this maybe, and make that a glow laser that can be in the center. Is there something that I want to add on this layer? Like, what if I try to use these objects, put them in like the middle? I can make it be like color 1 but with half opacity and more brightness, more hue and less saturation. I guess that works. It's kind of messy in a way. It's kind of weird in a way. I then copy and pasted the design to fit the rest of the structure and gave it some pulsing groups to make it actually have a 9 circles effect. So I think that will be the design. So I'ma just go and copy and paste that throughout the parts. And hopefully this won't take as long as what this part took, as this took like 3 hours to fill in. And yeah, let's just hope that this will take shorter than that. And while I'm filling in the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. We actually managed to get 3,000 subscribers a few days ago, and so maybe we can hit 4,000 before December, as I have a lot of hope in you guys. I also have memberships, so smash that join button for tons of cool and amazing perks. But let's get back to my 9 circles level. Okay, so all of the block design has been filled in now, and surprisingly, actually not surprisingly, this actually took longer than the first part, but I am actually pretty proud of this. I don't know if I like it more than the first part, but it's still pretty cool. What I want to work on now is like some ground spikes, so I think I'll just like begin by snipping off this ground spike design right here, maybe to like this point, and then I kind of want to try to replicate like the block design with like some normal structures. So let's see if that can work. I mean, that's an alright design, I guess. It's not anything like super interesting. It's just like something whatever, you know. And now I guess I'ma just like copy this to the top. And then I added a sort of bubble column to connect the two structures together. And I guess also signify that this is a new part, but I would think that you would already know that just by looking at the design. And I don't know exactly what I'll put on the inside of it. Maybe I can do some like animated objects. What if I use this like waterfall object right here? Give that blending and like pretty low saturation and less hue. Same with like the second layer. Something like this maybe, and then copy that on top of itself. But I want this to be feel like more powerful, you know, more visible. So should I use like a particle editor thing? Using the particle editor, I made some bubbles. Yeah, that's it. They were pretty tricky to set up, but I actually made them work, unlike some of my other attempts to make a particle editor. So what I want to do, I want to like put this here in the middle and then scale it down to like this maybe. And then put that on the other side as well. Like that. Yeah, that's cool. And now I want to begin with the actual ground spike design. I'm not too sure what I'll do, so I'll go grab some inspiration from something. What if I use like the normal ground spikes, so like this, make them like T2 maybe? I would much rather use these ones, as like if I copy those and make like an outline behind them, then it's way easier to see the outline. So yeah, something like this, make like a kinda big outline. Can use like these in the background of it. Like that also, the blending color. We'll make this have way less saturation. Something like that maybe. And then my screen froze for like 15 minutes, but luckily the only thing that I did was just fill in the rest of the ground spike design. Alright, I've done some changes to the part, like I added some rotating objects behind the structures. I think that looks pretty cool. And now I kind of want to begin with a saw blade design, as the saw blades are pretty much invisible at the moment. I don't know when this happened, but I suddenly managed to get the skill to make saw blade designs that actually look pretty cool. Then I can add like a rotating object behind this, maybe scale it down, make that be one, yeah. Let's say that can also be blending, but like, I guess with some more hue to it and less saturation. And then I can take like this saw blade behind that. Make it so the inside of this saw blade is blending like that and also be way darker, and I can give this some black inner outlines. I guess I can take all of these details and scale them down a bit. And now I'm gonna add some glow to it, so maybe some black glow. And then finally I want to add like another rotating object behind all of this. Or maybe I can add like this object to the inside. So all of this can have like a 30-degree rotation, and I guess this can have a 40-degree rotation, and this can have a negative 30-degree rotation. And do that. Yeah, that's good. I like it. What if I try to add some like 3D to this saw blade? So shift it up to like here, make that be below, and also half opacity black color. And after making a smaller variation of the saw blade, I just copy and pasted it throughout the part. I then did the spike design, but that was just the exact same as the previous part, so nothing interesting there. Okay, let's see how the part looks with the spikes. Yeah, it already feels way more like welcome even. Yeah, that's good, that's good, that's good. Now, there are some problems, like for example here, there's a lot of lacking decoration. But I think to fix that, I'll add like another layer to the background, and here I'll do some like sort of pillars. So let's say I'll use like these objects right here. What I'll do, I'll turn off link controls, go to like this type of object, which is pretty much just a slope variation of these, and paste the color of them so that, yeah, it's like that. So the glow on the left side can be blending, while the glow on the right side can be half opacity black. So it'll be like a shadow on one side and like a highlight on another side. Then let's say I'll add some outlines to this. On layer 2, I'll add black inner outlines to this, just because they are absolutely beautiful. Then I want to add a pair of outlines to this inside. It's not that noticeable now, but once I work on the design itself, it'll be more noticeable. And here I want to use these like objects, which I guess kind of has like a sort of energy pattern to them in a way. I then added a lot of glow to make it feel even more energetic. I want to add some like glow to kind of section off the inside of the pillar and the outside of the pillar or something like this, yeah. And now I just kind of need to fix the layering of this. See, I like that, the problem is already fixed. Nice. Also gotta make this no touch so that you can't collide it, and that I can also free rotate this. And yeah, now it's just time to put this throughout the part. And once I finished putting them throughout the part, this happened. I'm gonna make these pillars be group of 157. So let's say 157 will have a 0.9 modifier, so that you can see some like parallax. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, alright, oh my god, I fixed that, like, empty space problem so well. Because, like, if I do a freeze frame of this, you can see so much goddamn detail here. Okay, maybe not once I scaled it up, but, like, holy, look at this, dude. Look at this part. Dude, I had, like, doubts about this, like, not being nearly as good as the first wave, because I really like what I did with the first wave, but oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And after freaking out for 5 more minutes, I began by adding some more atmospheric details to the part, but since I didn't commentate through that, I guess I'll just skip that. anything else that I would want to add to this, or is it just fine by itself? I think that might be this entire part, yeah. I'm really proud of this. Like, at the beginning, my expectations were pretty high, and I was worrying that I wasn't gonna be able to fulfill them, but I managed to do that, so that's nice. So yeah, the final thing that I gotta do now is just add the names of the members of my channel to the parts. Thank you so much to my members: Dastinity, GhostXan, RSD621, Qafo, Filmix9, Zoshaluko, Wowzy, H-Physics, Malachad, Lime, and Cohen. Thank you guys so much for watching the second to last episode of the 9 Circles level, and let's get to the final showcase of the level so far. Quick disclaimer, yes, this is the final episode of the level, but I didn't finish it this episode. I still have like kind of a part left and also the end screen to do, but I will do that on stream probably the day after this video has been released. But yeah, let's get to the video. So we are back for probably the final time for building the 9 Circles level, and as you can probably see, I've done a lot of changes off camera, so I'll go through some of these. So first of all, I noticed that the wave parts were looking kinda empty, so for the first wave part, I added like these sorta 2015 blocks as air deco. I added some arrows as well. And for the second wave, I reused the arrows. For this part, I made some like sorta glow beams. I think it looks pretty cool. And then the final thing I did was like improve the transition out of the wave part, and I'll just show how that looks. It's not the cleanest transition. Like if I go into slow speed, then you can see like some like cutting down there, and I don't really know how to fix that. So yeah, now we're gonna begin with the gameplay for the parts. The main thing that I wanted to execute with this part is kind of like a revamped version of the first part, because I wanted to use a lot of callbacks and feel like you just entered back to the beginning. For this part, I wanted there to be like more fakes, like in the first part. I guess move these up maybe? Yeah, like that, I guess. And then just to indicate that these will be fakes, I can put these blocks down. Wait a minute. What if I place like a blue orb here? Yeah, like that, but I would much rather want it to be outside of the fake so that there wouldn't be like any weird layering. It was kinda hard to make this part, as I feel like I had a lot of pressure because the previous parts were so intense and beloved. So naturally I had to make something great here as well. Maybe I can have like a mini portal right here, and then have some small jumps. So something like this. And then let's say I'll shift this forward, or maybe shift just like the pad forward. And then I guess I can copy these structures again. And then I want there to be a dash orb. Maybe you go into double speed for that dash orb. So it's kind of reminiscent to the effect that I did in the first drop, or I guess the first wave. I guess I can extend this structure to be even longer and then have it so that the fake is like here.
I really like the gimmicks that I used for this part, and I also really like how I managed to do the gimmicks. And I also like how this feels very similar to the first part, but it's still very different. It was pretty hard to make good structuring for this gameplay, but that was a problem that I figured out relatively quickly. And then here, I guess I can have like 2 times speed again, but this time it'll just be some like portals. I want it to be like this. Yeah, screw it. And then there will be some spikes right here. I'm pretty happy with the gameplay for this cube part. Like, it's very reminiscent to the first part, which I like. Now I think I'll do some structuring, and then I'll begin with the decoration for the part. I'll probably do this ship part today. If I don't do the ship part, then I'll do it on stream. I'ma just go and structure this part now, and then I'll begin with the decoration. So now we're beginning with the decoration, and the first thing I'll actually do is just change the color of the background. What I'll begin by doing is changing it to a more like light bluish color. Yeah, like this. The pulses that were like looped from the first wave part still sync up now, which is nice. I took some inspiration from Funky's part in Cybernetic Crescent for this, but I feel like a lot of the inspiration kind of just got lost, and it doesn't really look that similar to the original parts. Then what I want to do, I want to go back to using like these objects right here, like these, and then make it so they have like some more hue to them, like this maybe. So now we're beginning with the glow for this, where I'll first do like some pretty normal glow on this side right here. I want to do some more glow as well, so let's say on this side I'll put some like half opacity black glow on the edge. Then I can maybe add some like glow beams to the center. It feels very washed at the moment, so there's definitely some stuff that I'll have to change with this. What if like instead of using these objects, I can try to make the outlines more glowy. Like this was something that I used to do all the way back in like August last year. However, I haven't used it since. I'm not entirely sure why I haven't. So I'll make this be like blending and maybe T1 or maybe even T2. I can maybe lower the saturation of it and make it be like maybe a little bit less bright, like this, yeah. I then did something very unique for this block design, which I don't think I've ever done in this game before. So for the inside of this, what if I use these blocks right here? Like the Arctic Lights blocks is basically what I call them, because they're used a lot in Arctic Lights. Do something like this then, or what if I make it blending? I want some more stuff on this inside though. So I gave it some low opacity outlines, some low opacity glow, and some low opacity other details that I don't know the name of. Okay, but I'll do the test now. Should I do some like half opacity black inner outlines to this? Yeah. Dude, why didn't I think of that? That just makes the design so much better. Oh my days, nice. Yeah, but it's still very empty, so maybe I'll do something on the inside of it. I can have like just a normal base with half opacity black like this, yeah. It's a decent start. Maybe I'll use the Arctic Lights blocks, but the slope version now. I made these slopes have a sort of classic 9 circles effect, and while that did took a while to make work well, I still like how it looks in the end. What if I do this? It's a step in the right direction, you know. What if I just do like 2 pieces of glow? This will be blending and this will be half opacity black. Yeah, that works. I then began on the 3D, which was kind of hard to do because of the separations in the block design, but I still managed to make it work, even though it's not that different from my normal 3D. So this is gonna be the block design for this part. It definitely will be way different to like some of my other block designs, which will be interesting, but yeah, let's just fill in the block design now, which will be pretty scary. And while I'm filling in the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. I spend a lot of time on these videos, so any support would be highly appreciated. I also have memberships, so smash that join button for tons of cool perks. But let's get back to the final episode of my 9 circles level. So we are back now, the block design has been filled in, and this is actually looking pretty cool. I think what I'll do now is the spike design, and I have a pretty interesting idea for this spike design. So obviously we begin with the normal spikes like this. I'm gonna add another spike to the inside of this. On like the inside of this spike, I wanna just put some ground spikes. Yeah, do like that, but maybe make it a little bit less opaque, like that, maybe? Something else that I want to do is put like these blocks on the inside of the structure. And then it was glow time. Anyways, on layer 6, I'll add another spike to this, so maybe that could just be like another normal spike, something like that, but maybe add like another spike to the inside. It's a very interesting spike design, but I do like it. And then I copy and pasted the spikes throughout the part, and after I did that, I began reusing some details that were previously seen in the level. The main reason why I did this is to make the callback element feel more noticeable, and I really like that. Oh, and I also added a gradient, but I didn't really do any commentary throughout that, so let's just skip that. I kinda want this to feel like a callback to the first part, and something else that I'll do to kind of like call back the first part is, should I just copy and paste the ground spike design? Because I don't know if I should. I'll remaster the ground spike design, sure. It's like obviously in the ground spikes I used these ones, but made them white. And I kind of want to just do what I did there and use, where were they? These ones, yeah. So give it some more hue, less saturation, and more brightness. Also copy and paste it like this, yeah. Maybe I can add like some more messy details to this. What if I use like these objects and just like splatter them around the place? And then maybe like behind that, I can use like these ones, which will also be blending, but way darker. So something like that, and then I'll also add the very slow saw blades that were entirely white, because I really like that detail. Saw blades and ground spikes just look very cool. So yeah, I think that is pretty nice. Now, I feel like what I want to do now is custom background, although I don't really have any ideas for a custom background. Maybe what I can try to do is do like some sort of more advanced pillars. Like in the first part, what I did for the pillars is just like take these objects right here and just copy and paste them down like this. But here I can try to do something a little bit more interesting with the pillars. It's very strange. I don't know how I feel about it. How about instead of using normal blocks, I use like, let's say these ones. So just make like pretty much the same structure, but I use these blocks instead. Something like this, I guess. And what if I make it both like color 1 and then have it so that it's like this or something? These are definitely my sort of favorite pillar type custom backgrounds, and I like the uniqueness that I managed to portray with them and not do anything generic as I normally do. And then I can add like these objects. Yeah, I can add these in like a very strange way. What if I give it like color 1 with more hue, less saturation, and less brightness? That could work. And then what if I add some glow to the center of it? It was pretty tricky to make this glow work well, but thanks to the warp tool, it actually managed to go easier than I thought. Yeah, it's very like blotched and like really messy and weird. Even if I think I know a way to fix it. So like if I just take this maybe and then warp it to the side and then put that here. Yeah, that works. And then I can add some drop shadow to it. That's definitely way too unoptimized though, so do something like that. That looks good. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that's a very good custom background. I really like that. After this, I was gonna do another layer to the custom background using some ground spikes as parallax, but that looked atrocious. And then what I want to do now is kind of design some like rotating objects. What I have in mind for these rotating objects is first of all, I need to figure out an inside for these. So what if I use like hexagons for the inside? So let's say this will be just color 1, maybe color 1 with half opacity. Give it some more hue to it, less saturation, more brightness. Maybe not the less saturation part though. I don't like that these are half opacity. I feel like full opacity works better. Yeah, I guess that looks cool. It's not done, not in the slightest. Maybe I can add like this guy. For this rotating object, I spammed a lot of half circle outlines, and I also made them have a lot of hue to them, which I like a lot. So I feel like the blending ones, they are probably a bit too bright. Actually, what if I make them like a purple color? It doesn't look that good here though, so I feel like it just looks weird because there's not like any other hints of purple here. This one can be like pinkish in a way. And then what if I take this object, scale it to be like this, that blending, just really dark. I think the final addition that I'll add is just some like very huge glow. And from one rotating object to another one, I began with the saw blade design. I'll do like one that is yeah, blue, copy it, scale it up, okay, not to normal size, scale it up like this, that behind, and make that be blending and blending. And then I guess also like scale it down to like maybe not 0.5, maybe like this much, I guess. Then I can add like this saw blade on B1, which will be blending on, okay, not the blending on the outside, blending on the inside, like that. Yeah, nice. Then I want to incorporate the like spinning objects again. I feel like this saw blade is very reminiscent to the saw blade that I made for when I remade Firewall, but I don't think it's that much of a big deal as there is a pretty huge difference between them. What if I add like a really tiny saw blade to the center of this? Let's say like this one. Make that be like 20. Or maybe -20 could be better. It's a really tiny detail, but it does work. Now obviously what I need to do now to make it be so much better is add some glow to it, obviously. Copying it, put that on B1 and make that be some black glow behind. I then copy and pasted the saw blades throughout the part, and that was pretty much the final actually necessary detail that I added to the part. I did add some pulses and some movement, but they're not really that interesting. But yeah, the part is actually done now. I actually really like this part. This might actually be the finished product of the part, and it's 1000 objects. It's one of the most object heavy parts of the level, which is not that great. If there is something that I want to change with this, then I'll obviously change that, but I'm pretty proud of this now. I have decided that I will do the ship part on stream because I don't think I have the time to do that now. So Yeah, the final thing to do now is of course the names of the members of my channel to the part. So thank you so much to my members: Dastinity, GhostXan, RST621, Padre, Qafo, Felmix9, Zoshaluko, Wowz, HPhysics, Malachad, Lime, Cohen, RionFX, and Ripluck. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and a special thanks to the members. As always, you guys are the best. And yeah, let's get to the final showcase of the level so far.